Okay guys, we're gonna try take 2 here. We have Starlink, and Starlink has been completely down in this area, so we were trying to go live on the Wi-Fi here at the RV park, but that one let me down big time. So let's hope and see if we're back up and going and that you guys find me again, okay? Otherwise, this is going to be a boring live because I'm going to be here all by myself. So hopefully we don't lose signal once again. Okay, I'm going to put my camera back down, and let's see if we are ready, or if we can actually keep going. Okay, so white jeans, and sometimes it's a little challenging working on white just because it's hard to see what you're doing, okay? Because our spray that we're going to use is white. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is mask off the area that I want to foil, because I'm going to use our fusible spray adhesive. And some of you guys make it back on here, okay? Gotta love it, okay? I mean, we first pulled into the RV park today. One of the things I tried to do was just download some stuff that Ashley had sent me, and discovered that they had a complete outage in this area. So I don't know what was going on, but we tried a couple of times, and hopefully we'll be rocking and rolling now. Gotta love technology when it works. Kind of hate it when it doesn't, but hopefully we're good here for a while. So if you guys are with us and you're okay and the video is looking good, can you just let me know? I feel like it's super quiet, and I see that there's a few people on here, but I still feel like it's super quiet. Okay, I'm gonna grab also some of my copy paper to make sure that I can mask off a little bit here, okay? So when you're using the fusible spray, which is this product that we're going to work with, it's super important. Okay, I feel like I just froze again. Let's see. Okay, I think we're okay. But yeah, do me a favor, make some comments or write something in the comment section. I feel like I've lost all my comments too. Christy, okay, thank you. I'm starting to see something over on my end. Okay, so we're going to be working with the fusible spray. This one is designed for fabric use only. It will make it through the wash, so if you do any projects with this product, you just want to make sure when you're washing that you do a cold water wash. I recommend inside out on delicate cycle and no dryer, and that will keep your definitely keep your projects looking their best, okay? There we go. Okay, I felt like I was on the wrong video or something here. There we go. Yeah, we totally lost it on my first attempt here, okay? So hopefully we don't have any more problems here, okay? Hopefully Starlink's not going to let me down. Now I'm using the fusible because we have such quick dry time with this. Within 10 minutes I can go forward, but you could also do what I am going to show with the gel duo as well. This just takes 45 minutes to an hour to dry, which is a pretty long dry time, okay? Patrick, hopefully I just answered your your question. I think it's a personal preference. I like them both. I just like the quicker time frame that I can get with the fusible. The gel just, the gel takes a long time to dry. So if you are using the gel, you would not have to tape off. You can just brush it over the whole entire pocket. But once it dries within, 45 to 60 minutes, you want to transfer, okay? You don't want to let that stuff sit for hours or overnight. It does not transfer well, okay? So if you are using the gel duo, once it's dry, you want to transfer. So this is not one that I usually use on lives because of the length of time it takes. Oh, awesome, Joellen. Can't wait to see your project. Oh, Sandy, you just picked up the gel. The gel is great. It's just not great for doing a live because the dry time is way too much, okay? You guys don't want to sit here and wait 45 minutes for a product to dry. Okay, so once you tape off the area, I'm also going to use, I'm just using some copy paper here, and I'm going to put this underneath the tape, just kind of to secure it down so that when I spray over the pocket area that I want to do, the spray will not get on anything else, okay? You just want to make sure that you don't end up with overspray everywhere, and it's easy to do, so make sure you are masking off as I'm doing. This obviously has some foil adhesive on it, so it was nice and sticky. And I do like to put the paper underneath the tape edge so it stays in position. I found that one time I just laid it down, didn't stick it under the tape edge, and as soon as I started spraying, the paper just flew, okay? So make sure you do secure it down with your tape. Okay, so now I have a full area that's completely masked off. And yes, the Duo Gel Patrick has to be completely clear, or should be really close to clear before you start, okay? Now, I'm going to be using the fusible spray because we only have to wait like 10 minutes for this to dry before we can go forward. So I'm going to just shake it up. You want to hear that ball, okay? It's a rattle can. You want to really hear that shake, and you also want to wait till the can starts to feel a little cool. And within normally about 15 to probably 30 seconds, you're going to feel the can get a little bit cooler, which to me, that tells me I am ready to go. Now, white on white is super hard to see, you guys. And I recommend, if you've never done this product before, that you test on a piece of colored fabric first instead of white, because it's going to be super hard for you to see how much product I'm putting on here, okay? And you don't want to spray back and forth real heavy. You want to just do some quick bursts, okay, going across your project, and make sure you have full coverage. It shouldn't be heavy, okay? You don't want this stuff to look like it's flocked. If it starts to look like Christmas tree flocking, that means you probably have sprayed way too much. I feel like I missed the end here. Okay, I'm gonna go one more time. Okay. And like I said, it is super challenging to do white on white. So really is best to test the product out on something like blue denim, okay, instead of going for a white denim to start with. That way you get used to how much spray you need, how much coverage you need, and it's not going to be a mystery of not being able to see it when you get to a white project, okay? So I would say don't let this be your first attempt. And I have plenty of videos either here on my page or on my YouTube channel that show the process. So you should be able to grab one of those videos and quickly check it out, okay? So there's a little bit of color difference. I feel like it's even whiter than the jean was to begin with. It felt really cool when I put it on, and now we're just gonna let it sit for that 10 minutes. Yes, Patrick, the spray is on our website. If you go on to the website and just put into the search box the word fusible, it should pop right up, okay? So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to grab, hopefully not everything comes flying out of this cabinet that I just opened, okay? I'm going to grab some foil adhesive and some Mondego, okay? Because we're going to go ahead and talk about doing a hat. So I'm going to make a matching hat for these jeans. Hello, Brianna and Donna. Patrick, you really should not be putting the Duo Gel on that thick. It should just be a, I want to say just a nice level coverage, not too thick. If it's taking 12 hours to dry, that's way too long, okay? It really should be dry within, I mean, like 60 minutes, okay? Not unless you're super, super humid. And being in Huntington Beach, this stuff is normally dry within 45 to 60 minutes, okay? If you have it on so thick that it took 12 hours to dry, you have this product on way too thick, okay? So just make sure that you're only giving it just a nice, I want to say complete coverage, but it shouldn't be thick. Okay, I'm just scrolling back and making sure that everything is okay. Okay, I just wanted to check. Now, I've already started this hat, and I can feel the texture difference, okay? So I started this with our Mondego, and I used the Mondego Clear, and I've put a full layer on both top and underside of the bill, okay? Now, the reason why we're doing foil or the Mondego on the hats is because we're going back to our regular foil adhesive for this application. And it's the best, I feel, for doing the any of the hats, whether you're doing a baseball cap, if you're doing a wide brim hat, cowboy hats, straw hats, the Mondego works really great. So you want to put the Mondego on, and you want to let that set for at least 24 hours. You want to let it completely dry, and that's because the Mondego is a liquid, and it's going to take that long for it to dry. And you're also soaking fabric, okay? So you want to make sure that's completely dry before you go on to your next layer. Now, this hat has been dry for days because this is one that we prepped for the tumbler invasion class, and this one just didn't get used. We had prepped a few extras just to be sure. Says, can a plastic cake holder be foiled? Okay, Tammy, plastic is probably the hardest to work on. But if it's just like a plastic dome, you should be able to do it. I would probably do just a super, super light sanding with a high grit sandpaper, like a 400. That way it won't scratch it too much, but probably just kind of rough the surface up. Clean it really good with rubbing alcohol. And then after that, apply the the Artsyville Embellishments foil adhesive and let it sit for at least 24, possibly up to 48 hours. And let that dry really long, because the longer this dries, the better chance it has to bond to the plastic and then give you a really good surface to transfer your foils. Kimberly says, I ended up using Artsyville adhesive on my purse instead of Duo gel. Oh, yeah, if it's a leather or a pleather purse, I would definitely be using the Artsyville. Okay, so on this hat, I already did the Bondego clear, so it has full coverage. It's definitely going to feel a little bit different. You're going to notice the texture different. So it's not going to feel as soft as the hat did before, because this is like a cotton blend, I think. I don't know, these hats here that came from Hobby Lobby, it's like they got their little tag on here, but none of us could ever find anything inside the hat to indicate what kind of fabric it was. So we're just assuming it's some kind of a cotton blend. But once you allow the Bondego to dry, you can go to your next layer. Well, welcome Jackie from Canada. We've had a few orders from there lately. One of our regular customers just placed an order today, and then we had somebody else place an order. So we have quite a few Canadians that have dove into the foil addiction, I should say. Okay, so this is the foil adhesive. Usually I put it out on what I call my sticky plate, but I don't really know where those are right now. So gosh, I'm going to use my lid. I'm so used to using a sticky plate, it's hard for me just to work out of the jar. Because once you pick up product out of the jar, I always feel like there's too much on your brush to start with. And I prefer to have more of a control from coming out of the sticky plate or my lid for tonight, okay? So I'm going to try and keep my product on the bill only, okay? I'm trying not to get it onto the top section of the hat. Now, if you decide you want to do this section, I would say you can Bondego at the same time. So you could Bondego the bill and the top section of the hat. But when it comes to the foil adhesive, I'm going to recommend that you definitely do your foil adhesive on the bill. Once you transfer your foil, then do the other section, because it's really, really hard to isolate your foils and get a great transfer on both, because the minute you start to put it here, it's going to stick up here as well. And you're going to love my suggestion to do it in 2 different times. Sometimes I don't think up the projects as well as I should, and oh my gosh, I did that to myself one day, and I'm like, oh guys, please don't do this. Do it on 2 separate days. You're going to thank me for that advice. Even though I was using the exact same color, it was just grabbing it and causing all kinds of problems. So learn from my mistake. Okay, also when you're putting on the foil adhesive, you want a nice full coverage. You want to make sure you come back and even kind of soften all your brush strokes so you don't have brush strokes going in every direction. You want to make sure you have full coverage, and you don't want it so thin that there's barely anything there. You want to definitely, I don't want to say the word generous. I taught in person this past week, and when I told one of the girls we wanted a generous coat, well, she went a little far, okay? So you want to make sure that you have enough product and enough material that you're going to get a good transfer, but it should not be like thick and super textured. You should just have a nice even layer of material on there, okay? If you put it on too thin and you don't have enough tack when you're ready to start your transfer, then if you are super light-handed, you can always do 2 light layers versus just 1 more generous. But again, you don't want to have texture like that, okay? That's really, really thick there, okay? And I did that on purpose just to show. So come back, smooth out all of your brush strokes, and just get them nice and soft, because we don't want to be able to see our brush strokes if we can possibly avoid that. Also, don't forget about this edge where the top and the bottom meet, okay? Because you want your foils to go over that edge. So I always try to come back and make sure I have that done as well, and just smooth out my mess and leave it. So once you put the foil adhesive on here, again, you're making the whole hat super wet, and this is going to take, again, hours to dry. Now, I am the firm believer, the longer I let things dry, the better things come out. So I've gotten to a point I really, really do allow things to dry way longer than they probably need, but I'm gonna let this sit 24 hours, and that way I know when I come back, it will be ready. If you're in a hot, dry climate, you can probably get away with 3-4 hours maybe, but if you have any humidity, then definitely wait longer, okay? Okay, I'm going to find a hook here. Okay, we have cabinet hooks, okay? I'm using all the door pulls to hang things on. Okay, let me get caught up here on questions. Wainima, you are more than welcome. You can come in late at any point in time, and then whatever you missed, you guys can always go back and watch the replay as well. But we appreciate you joining us, so no issue. Jackie says, I just came across your page the other day. Excited I found you. Oh, that is super sweet. Thanks for hanging out with us. Yes, Kimberly, the hat already had the Bondago on it before I put the foil adhesive. So it's always a multi-layered project. And just so that you guys can see, you can change also the bill color to another color. So let's say you got a bunch of white hats and you love that the top part is white, but you want a little bit of color on the bill. You can take your Bondago clear and you can mix it with your acrylic paint and paint on your base coat, and the Bondago is going to seal that surface still well. When I changed the color of this hat, I had already had put Bondago clear on here and then decided, oh, I really don't want white underneath. So I mixed the Bondago and my just Americana acrylic paint. Did not take much Americana to get the color. So don't feel like you got to go 50-50. It's more Bondago than acrylic. But I brushed on a full coat, top and bottom. I haven't gotten the bottom side done on this one yet, but look how cute that is. Okay, so that is our Demi Diva or Diva Demi. I can never remember which way it goes, okay, but it's Demi Diva, I believe. Super cute. That's one of my favorite hats right now. I got to get that one finished. So Jackie says she's wanting to foil part on the back of a denim jacket. Would it be the same process you're showing today for the cap? No, it'll be the same process I'm showing for the jeans. So the process I show for baseball caps is the same process when you are doing any kind of hat, as well as shoes, canvas shoes. So if you're going to do denim, your denim is going to be the same as these white jeans, because this is just a white denim. Not sure what that brand name is. Bandolino? I guess they're Bandolino. Okay. So far, and if you missed the first part, okay, I completely taped off the pocket. I put paper down and made sure I had complete area covered so I wouldn't have any overspray. And I used our Duo, I'm sorry, not our Duo, I used our fusible spray adhesive. Now you can also use the Duo gel. The main difference is you can brush this stuff on, but it takes 45 minutes to an hour to dry at least. Whereas if I use the fusible spray, you have to mask more, okay? It's masking everything else off, but this dries within like 10 minutes and you can go forward. So either one will work, but it just kind of depends on how fast you want to go. And if you're using the gel duo or the fusible spray, you're going to be ironing on. So your denim jacket, you're going to iron. My little Cricut mini press just said it was ready. Okay, I'm on medium heat. Okay, so I'm 2 bars up, not the 3rd. So I have found that going up to the highest heat has been a little much lately. So I've been just staying down at the lower. Okay, and we are going to use my Easton Tooled Leather. Okay, so I'm going to cut off a piece here so I can decide what section I want on my pocket. And I have a really big roll of this, so this girl's got to start using some of this. And just a little bit about the Easton Tooled Leather, okay? It is a or I'm gonna say more like a semi-transparent foil, but if you change the color underneath this, it really makes a big difference, okay? So let me put the Easton Tooled Leather so over the top of that hat. Okay, see how it changed color, and you can see the little cheetah print underneath. But it really does change the color of everything. The lighter or the whiter your background is for this particular foil, the better you're going to be able to see the pattern and all the detail from the pattern. I'm just going to grab a black hat so that you can really see as you get darker what happens to the foil, okay? Not that this could still be a great look, but it's going to be way more muted, way more subtle, and the pattern is just going to come out that dark over black. Versus if I put it on white, then you look and you can see all the detail. Okay, so everything is masked off. I am just going to see if I can grab a piece of wood here. And the reason why I'm trying to put something underneath is because I've got a pocket on the front, I got buttons, I've got all kinds of stuff on the front side of the jean, which is going to make it not very smooth. So if you can find a hard surface that you can put inside the jean, then all you're going to be dealing with is at least the pocket on this side and not all the pockets on the front side. Okay, it just kind of helps with the ironing process. Okay, so now I can decide what part I want on the pocket and which direction I want the foil flipped. So I think I'm going to go for that. Okay, so it should actually, when you rub it down, it should stick a little bit, okay? So there should be a little tiny bit of tack, not like it's sticky, like our regular foil adhesive, but you should still feel a little bit of tack. Okay, and then you're going to iron. Now, if you do not have a little mini press, you can still use your regular iron. Make sure you do not go above like a medium heat, okay? Do not go all the way to high. And if you've never transferred with your iron before, I'm going to suggest that you do a sample piece first. I would do a complete sample, getting used to the product to begin with. So either the fusible spray or the duo gel. Make sure that you kind of go through all the steps and get used to the way it works, how long you need it to dry depending on where you live, how humid, how hot, how dry. You know, every time you get into a different element as far as environment, it can change the length of time that you might have to wait for stuff and make sure that it's dry enough to go forward. So all the stitching that was on the pocket is kind of like coming through, because there's a pattern on the pocket that like swishes with some stitching, so I can actually see that. And then when you're ironing, I like to iron for about a minute or two. I'm using pressure. I'm on a hard surface, and don't let the iron sit anywhere, okay? So keep moving it at all times. Again, if you're not familiar with how hot your iron gets and you're concerned that the setting, on which setting to use, you can always grab a piece of parchment paper, lay it over the top of the foil, and iron over the parchment paper, okay? So once you have ironed, okay, and unfortunately my finger grabbed that, okay, and pulled it up before I was ready. You do want to let this cool completely off before you release it, because our foils are what are called a cool or cold release. When you have all this stitching, you want to make sure that you're really getting onto all those edges, which sometimes is kind of tricky. One of my retailers has finally given up on trying to go over stitching, and she just totally avoids it. She'll put something on the middle of the pocket, but she sometimes stays away from the whole pocket because the stitching can cause a little bit of a headache, okay? That you really have to work hard to try to get it to get underneath on all these edges and just get all those different heights, okay? But right now, we're just gonna let that cool off because it's super hot. And I'm going to go back and read. So Tracy, yes, this will get affected. Let me see if I've got a hat here that's tan, okay? So all you have to do is lay it over any color that you want to work on, and it's going to read the color it will transfer. So if you want to test this over blue, you want to test it over white, cream, tan, whatever color you're thinking you want to work over, just lay the foil over the top, and that's going to tell you exactly what it's going to look like. That's the beauty of the transparent foils. If you have a regular metallic foil from our line, then on the website, on the actual page that lists the foil and has all the pictures, you will find 3 boxes, and in those 3 boxes it's going to tell you if the foil is fabric friendly. One of them is going to tell you what is the recommended color that we recommend, and then the other one's going to talk about the release. Okay, somebody was asking where to come get our foils, so I'm just typing that into the comments. Patrick says he loves his mini press. The little Cricut mini press is great. It's not only great to work on transferring the foils, but since I'm in my RV still traveling, it's really a great thing to have here. Okay, so in case I need to iron something, I've got a little mini iron, okay? Now, I'm not going to turn my iron off yet, because I always feel every time I do anything on pockets or I'm around the stitching, I never get the perfect release. So I like to let it cool off and then peek underneath, see if I need to go back and iron again, because you can, okay? So don't feel like it is a one shot, okay? So I'm gonna start peeling back, okay? And this little pocket area that I did not, I ripped it up too soon, okay? Came out a little weird there. And then I feel like I got a little bit, okay, this is all gonna come off, okay? So I might have gotten a little overspray, or it could be the sticky from the tape, but none of that will stick. And then I'm gonna pull inward, because we always get a little bit of an over release if we pull outward. So let me grab some of my tape and see if I can pick up all of the over release, okay? So there was a little bit, but look how the tape is just picking that right up. So, but get a little bit more off that. Okay. Any of the extra should just come off in the wash. But look how fun that's going to be. Okay, I thought these were just going to turn out to be the coolest kind of Western looking jeans. Okay, I'm going to bring a lot of attention to the back side though. So be careful where you put your foil, okay, if you don't want attention to that part of your jean. But you could always come in, even do the belt loops. You could do the inside part of the pocket. You can come down to the bottom, okay, which I'm going to do later, and you could do a full border at the bottom as well. So you can design as much or as little as you want to put on here, but look how beautiful that the Easton Tooled Leather transfer. That was a great transfer, guys. So once you're done transferring your foil, there's nothing else to do. The only thing I do suggest is do not go throw this in the washer for at least 48 hours. Really give it some time to dry, cure, all that. But if I wanted to, I could throw these jeans on and wear them out tonight. So that's really it. Okay, I think I talked earlier about washing. So when you do get ready to wash your jeans or whatever project you are working on, we suggest cold water, delicate cycle, inside out if possible, and do not put them in the dryer. Now, if you don't follow anything I just suggested, they still will come out looking okay, but they just won't wear as long, okay? So the dryer is really, really tough on the foils. But if you do just go regular washer, not delicate cycle, and probably like cold or warm water, you will be fine. Okay, guys, if I've missed any questions or comments, I will come back later and answer. But thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Sorry that we started off with a video that just completely went south when we first started out. But here we are, and we got something done. So thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll do my best to come back again tomorrow if possible. Have a wonderful evening. Bye, guys.